welcome back to another class. My name is Tati, and this is part of a 10-part yoga series where we explore the yamas and the niyamas. So these are the first two limbs of yoga and are more of the ethical restraints and observances. We have just finished all of the yamas. I'll link those classes for you in the description box below in case you want to check those out. You don't have to do any of these in a particular order, but today we're halfway through. We're just starting on the niyamas. There's 5 of these observances, and today's class is focused on Saucha, also known as purity or cleanliness. So for today's class, it will also be a yin style, just like the other ones in the series. We explore how we can practice these ethical principles on the mat as well as off the mat, so taking them into our everyday life. I'll be sharing with you journal prompts and practices that you can take with you throughout your day, and all of these prompts and practices will also be linked for you in the description box. So for this class, you might like to have a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can also make use of a bed pillow. If it's quite a small bed pillow, maybe have 2 of them, or a big rolled up blanket. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, why not click subscribe and join this yoga community? And with that, I'd say let's get started in a comfortable seated position on the mat. Taking a nice deep cleansing breath all the way into the body, into the belly, and exhale out with a sigh. Breathing in deeply in through the nose all the way into the belly, and exhale, sigh it out. Returning to a natural breathing, finding a nice tall spine, taking your dominant hand, and we'll be flowing through one of the kriyas, which is a cleansing practice in yoga, particularly focused on breathing, called alternate nostril breathing. So the thumb blocks off one nostril and you breathe in through the other nostril, and then you just switch sides, so blocking off the nostril that was open with your index finger or ring finger, and then exhaling out through the opposite side. So I'll be cueing for the first round and then leaving some time for you to flow in and out. The breaths will be of equal length inhalation and equal exhalation. I'd suggest starting with 4 and then maybe building it up to 6 or 7, or however many you can hold. So inhale to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1 through the left nostril. Exhale, close it off. Exhale, right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, left. 4, 3, 2, 1. And repeat. I'll be leaving some time for you to do this in your own time. And slowly coming back to a natural breath, finishing off your breathing. And then twisting over by placing left hand onto right knee, right fingertips come to the right hip or float behind you, spiraling the chest over towards the right. So twists are said to help detoxify the body, so we'll be doing quite a few twists in today's Saucha purity class. And then exhale, unwinding, swapping sides. So right hand comes onto left knee, Left hand onto left hip, or the fingertips float behind, spiraling the chest over towards the left side. Nice tall spine, shoulders are relaxed. Unclenching the jaw. And unwinding. We'll be doing a bit of tapping now. This is a great way to stimulate the vagus nerve as well as get the lymph flowing, which is part of immunity and detoxing. Just so the fingertips can pat from the inside of the nose along the cheekbone all the way up to the temple. So just doing that a few times, starting from the inside of the nose to either side of the temple. Tapping the cheeks, tapping the chin, and tapping between the eyebrows, over the third eye to the crown of the head. Tap, tap, tapping along the forehead and down the sides of the face, on the side of the neck. So you might like to gently lift the chin, tap, tap, tap until you find to the collarbone, so center of the chest, and then tap, tap, tapping from the center of the chest, so your sternum area, along the collarbone to the shoulders, tap, 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 tapping down along the arms. And for this, you might like to form a little fist and then just tapping with the finger part of the fist along the arms to the elbow crease, down the forearm to the wrist, and changing sides. So starting again from the sternum, tap, tap, tapping with the left fist all the way down the arm. And release the tapping, perhaps gently squeezing the feet. So just the bottoms of the feet, giving them a bit of release of tension, especially if you've been wearing shoes all day. And then bringing the bottoms of the feet together, forming a butterfly shape. The further you slide the feet away from the body, the less intense the stretch, and then rounding the spine, releasing into butterfly pose. And the first invitation to practice Saucha, or cleanliness, off the mat is to notice where your body is sluggish. And you can begin to purify yourself through diet and exercise, as well as the space around you. And remember that there are two aspects to cleaning. There's this external cleansing as well as internal purifying. So cleaning up your environment, and then internal purifying through diet or exercise, but also through the more emotional and thought processes. Inhale, slowly coming out of butterfly. And although this is a yin class, we'll be flowing through a really slow 2 rounds of sun salutation. So really slowly finding your way all the way up into a standing position, lingering here for a moment. And inhale, stretch the arms up and overhead, gathering fresh energy. Exhale, folding forward into a dangle. So feet are hip width distance apart, holding onto opposite elbows, gently swaying from side to side. Inhale, finding a half lift. So hands on the shin, thighs, or on the mat. And exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, root to rise, the arms sweep up and overhead. Exhale, riding the breath all the way back down into a dangle. Swaying gently from side to side, relaxing the upper body, bending into the knees as much as you need, releasing tension in the hamstrings. Inhale, finding a flat back, and exhale, fold. Inhale slowly, one vertebra at a time, rounding the spine, finding all the way to a standing position in a ragdoll, so the arms and the head hang heavy as you roll up, head comes up last, and then drawing the shoulders up and back, finding into mountain pose, taking a moment to ground through the feet, connect to the breath. We'll be doing a qigong exercise, so with the feet hip-width distance apart, slight bend in the knee, swinging the arms from side to side, and the gaze can move from left to right as the body turns from side to side. The arms gently meet the bum or the lower back. This can be very stimulating for the internal organs found in this area, so the liver, the kidney, all organs associated with cleansing and detoxifying. And then exhale, letting the arms sway slower and slower until you find into mountain pose, taking a moment to center yourself here, breathing deeply into the belly, and then exhale, folding forward, bringing the palms to the mat, the knees to the mat, big toes touch, knees touch, and then bringing the arms up and overhead into a child's pose. There's also the option to bring the knees wide into a wide-legged child's pose, melting the upper body, relaxing the hips towards the heels, and resting the forehead on the mat. The second practice of Saucha off the mat and in our everyday life is to purify our thoughts and speech. So you can use your friends, you can use forgiveness, ritual, journaling, all these kinds of practices to release any toxic or stale and negative thoughts that you might have, and replace these thoughts with love and gratitude. So having a practice of purifying your thoughts. Inhale, coming out of child's pose by gently gazing towards the hands and then sliding the hips forward, resting the pelvis on the mat, untucking the toes, sliding the forearms to be parallel to each other with the elbows underneath the shoulders, finding sphinx pose, peeling the chest open. If this feels too strong in your lower spine, you can lie on your belly, forming a pillow with the hands. Otherwise, finding sphinx with the chin tucked. And inhale, release, coming over one side, stretching the right leg and the left leg out away from one another, finding into dragonfly pose. You are welcome to slide a bolster with the short edge towards the pelvis and then melting over your prop, resting the upper body on the prop, finding dragonfly, or you can simply round the spine without a prop. The third practice is to be purely with yourself. So just leave yourself alone for a little while. Journal what this experience invokes for you by doing this. And this can be really challenging. So just be by yourself. Don't let yourself be stimulated by social media, books, friends, work, exercise. Just be with yourself. And then coming out of dragonfly pose, rolling all the way onto your back. Resting the right ankle on top of the left knee, finding eye of the needle. Welcome also to wrap the arms between the legs, holding onto the left knee and hugging the knees into the chest. And releasing the pose, letting both legs fall over towards the left side. You can place your left hand on top of the knees, right arm opens up into a T shape, gazing towards the ceiling or over the right fingertips. Sinking the shoulders into the earth. And slowly releasing the supine twist, placing the left ankle on top of the right knee, hugging the knees into the chest, eye of the needle on the other side. Placing the foot back on the mat and letting both legs fall over towards the right side. Left and right shoulders sink heavy in the earth, gazing up towards the sky or over the left fingertips. Option to rest the right hand on top of the knees. And then coming slowly out of the pose, finding your bolster or pillow, sliding it to the short edge to be tucked against the small of your back, so bolster pointing away from you, and then rolling the spine back over the bolster, opening the chest. Palms can be facing up towards the sky, feet stretched away from the body, or bringing the bottoms of the feet together into a butterfly shape. Open heart pose. And the fourth invitation to practice Saucha or cleanliness off the mat is a bit of a strange one, but setting aside one undisturbed hour and taking the entire hour to eat one fruit. So, for example, an orange. And this practice is said to help us slow down and be purely present with each moment as it presents itself. And you can journal this experience. The point of this practice is to experience the purity of the present. This is probably one of the hardest things to do because it's incredibly boring to the mind. But it's a great way to really practice being present and practice the essence of the purity in the present moment. Please do let me know if you are brave enough to try this one. And then inhale, slowly coming out. Just sliding the bolster to the left inner hip. Knees are bent and falling over to the right side. And then letting the upper body melt over the bolster. Resting the left cheek on the bolster, arms on the ground. Finding a bolster rotation. I encourage you to take the time to get really comfy here, feeling this gentle twist, gently stimulating the internal organs. And slowly pressing yourself up. And just turning the knees to fall over to the other side so the bolster is touching the inner right hip. And knees fall over to the left. And then turning the upper body so it can fall over the bolster. Right cheek rests. Gazing to the left, softening the eyes. Melting into the supported bolster rotation on the other side. So practicing cleaning your external space, cleaning up your diet and exercise, working on purifying your thoughts and speech by working on forgiveness and journaling to release any toxic and stale or negative thoughts. And then also the two practices where we focus more on the purity of the present moment by either being purely with ourselves or doing something really mundane like eating a fruit in one whole hour and noticing how it feels to be really present. Inhale, slowly coming out of your bolster rotation, finding your way onto your back and finding a yin inversion. So you're welcome to slide the bolster to Support the lower back, so sliding it underneath the bum. Legs come up into the air, knees can be bent. Or if you're practicing near a wall, you might like to rest the legs up against the wall. Letting gravity do the work here. This is another great practice to help all the lymph that is pooled in the feet and the calves move back up to the lymph nodes in the groin area, the heart area. So another way to help purify the body on the inside. Gently releasing your inversion, finding into a shavasana in whatever shape works for you. So you can stay in legs up the wall, or the yin inversion, you can bring the bottoms of the feet to touch, or straightening the legs away from you. Also the option to slide the bolster underneath the knees, deepening the breath. Letting all the tension in the body melt into the earth. It's time to rest, and I'll call us back when it's time. Slowly start to notice the shape and volume of the body. Deepen the breath. Invite movement into the body by wriggling the fingers and the toes. Hugging the knees into the chest, rolling over one side, and finding your way into a seated position. Placing one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. Taking 2 rounds of deep belly breathing while noticing how you feel now at the end of class. Bringing palms to touch and bowing the gaze in gratitude. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing the Saucha or purity themed class, the first of the Niyamas and the 6th part in the Yamas and Niyamas class. As I mentioned, all the prompts are linked in the description box below. All the other classes will be linked there. And I'd highly suggest also maybe trying a golden bath yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep. I'll link that for you. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. All my love.